blessed space between the piano player. Here is a short story. At the edge of a quiet town stood an old music hall with a grand piano beneath a single golden lamp. Every evening, a pianist named Julian sat at its polished keys and played for whoever wandered in. Julian could play almost anything. Joy came dancing through the higher keys. Grief rolled through the lower ones. He knew bright major chords, shadowy minor chords, sudden sharps, unexpected flats, and melodies that could make an entire room hold its breath. But lately, Julian's own mind sounded terribly out of tune. While his fingers played one song, his thoughts played another. Why did she say that? Plink. What if tomorrow goes wrong? Plunk. They should understand me. Bang. Maybe I should have done something differently. His thoughts crowded together like a pianist pressing every key at once. One night, after the audience had gone, Julian remained alone at the piano. He played a single note. Ding, then another, ding, then another. But this time, before touching the next key, he stopped. Silence filled the hall. Julian almost played again, but something within him whispered, "Listen." So he did. For years he had thought music was made of notes. Now he noticed something he had overlooked. There was space between them. Without that space, there would be no melody at all, only noise. Julian played another note and allowed it to fade completely. The silence afterward seemed almost alive. He smiled. Perhaps thoughts are like this too. A thought appeared. Someone doesn't love me. Usually Julian would have struck 10 more mental keys around it. Why not? What did I do? How do I change their mind? What does this say about me? But tonight he let the thought sound once. Then he waited. In the space that followed came a gentler understanding. Those who don't love me don't know me yet. Julian breathed. No argument, no defense, no attempt to force another person into harmony, just space. Another thought came. This should not have happened. He heard it like a sour chord. Instead of fixing it, fighting it, or composing an entire story around it, Julian let his hands rest in his lap. This too has come to pass, he whispered. Again, silence. He began experimenting. A memory would arise. Pause. A judgment. Pause. A worry. Pause. Every thought was allowed its note, but none was permitted to become the whole symphony. Some thoughts were sharp. Some were flat. Some sounded almost convincing. Some were wildly out of tune. But Julian discovered that he did not have to tune every thought. He could simply stop playing it. The following evening, the hall filled again. Julian began with a lively piece, fingers dancing confidently over the keys. Halfway through, however, he did something unusual. He stopped. The audience waited. 1 second, 2, 3. Nobody moved. Then Julian touched a single key so softly that the note seemed to rise out of the silence itself. Something changed in the room. The listeners were no longer merely hearing music. They were hearing the space that made music possible. After the concert, a young woman approached him. That pause in the middle, she said. I thought something had gone wrong. Julian laughed. So did I, for most of my life. She looked puzzled. I kept believing every space needed to be filled. With music? With thoughts. Julian returned to the piano and played 2 chords very close together. The sound became crowded. Then he played them again, leaving room between them. The second chord opened like a doorway. The mind does this, he said. One thought comes, and before it has even passed, we strike another. Then another. Soon we call the noise reality. What happens if you stop? Julian rested his hands above the keys without touching them. You listen. To what? He smiled. To what was here before the first note. The woman became quiet. Julian had no need to explain further. From then on, his concerts changed. He still played joyful chords and sorrowful ones. He played unexpected keys, unresolved melodies, and occasional wrong notes. Sometimes the piano itself drifted slightly out of tune, but Julian no longer believed harmony meant eliminating every imperfect sound. Harmony included the space, and whenever his own mind began racing again, he remembered the piano. Thought, space, thought, space. He discovered that the invitation was not to wrestle the mind into silence. It was simply to bless the space already there. In that space, there was nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to remember, nothing to become, only listening. And sometimes, when Julian sat perfectly still with his fingers resting gently above the keys, the deepest music in the room was the music he never played. That was where he listened to God. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.